Starting with New Vegas, the Fiend residence proves that sometimes the most mundane-looking places hide the darkest secrets. This ordinary house near the Strip is the only accessible building in its cluster, which immediately makes it suspicious if you're paying attention. Inside, you'll find fiends using it as a base, and while there's no unique loot or quest tied to it, the location serves as pure environmental storytelling about gang territory expansion. What makes this spot genuinely unsettling is how normal it looks from the outside, basically showing how the wasteland's dangers can hide behind any door. But if you thought a simple gang hideout was ominous, the next location literally fell from the sky with military secrets. Crashed Vertibird. The crashed Vertibird in New Vegas contains one of the game's most unique weapons and ties directly into companion questlines. Half buried in the desert sand, this military aircraft wreck is guarded by sentry bots and Mr. Gutsis that somehow survived the crash. The real prize here is the Tesla-beaten prototype, a unique energy weapon that's honestly one of the most overpowered items you can find through exploration. Even better, this location triggers Arcade Ganon's For Auld Lang Syne quest, proving that hidden locations often connect to major storylines in ways you'd never expect. The developers named this crash site after a webcomic artist, which shows how even unmarked locations get personal touches from the team. Griffith Peak. Griffith Peak represents the ultimate tease in New Vegas, being the highest natural point outside Jacobstown that you can see but never actually reach. Invisible walls block access to this mountain, making it pure environmental decoration that drives completionist players absolutely insane. The peak serves as a boundary marker for the game world, but its inaccessibility has spawned countless forum discussions about cut content and whether there were originally plans for additional areas. Sometimes, the most memorable hidden locations are the ones you can't actually visit. Speaking of places that test your navigation skills, the next location requires serious sewer spelunking. The Humble Sealed Sewers. Tucked beneath the Vegas underground, the Humble Sealed Sewers contain the Humble Cudgel, a unique melee weapon that most players never find. Getting to this location requires navigating through the complex sewer system beneath the Strip, which honestly feels like a mini dungeon that was cut from a larger quest. The weapon itself isn't game-changing, but finding it proves you've mastered the game's most confusing underground network. This location represents remnants of what was clearly intended to be a much larger sewer exploration system that got scaled back during development. The sewers might be confusing, but the next location creates its own natural maze through environmental hazards. Scorpion Burrow. Near Crescent Canyon West, the Scorpion Burrow shows logical creature ecology in action through environmental design. This sandstorm-engulfed area naturally explains where all those rad scorpions are coming from, complete with a rad scorpion queen as the area boss. The location doesn't contain special loot, but it demonstrates how New Vegas uses environmental storytelling to make the wasteland feel like a living ecosystem. The constant sandstorm effects make navigation genuinely challenging, forcing players to rely on audio cues to avoid the deadliest creatures. From creature nests to human entertainment, the next location shows what people did for fun before the bombs fell. Ivanpah Racetrack. North of Nipton Road Pit Stop sits the abandoned Ivanpah Racetrack, a perfectly preserved pre-war racing facility that serves as pure atmosphere. There's no loot, no enemies, and no quests tied to this location, which makes it one of the most peaceful spots in the entire Mojave. The track illustrates the kind of entertainment and normal life that existed before nuclear annihilation, creating an almost haunting contrast with the surrounding wasteland. Sometimes the most powerful environmental storytelling comes from what's missing, rather than what's there. But if you want environmental storytelling with actual narrative payoff, the DLC locations deliver in spades. Cueva Quarache. In the Honest Hearts DLC, Cueva Quarache serves as the final resting place of Randall Clark, whose terminal logs scattered throughout Zion Canyon tell one of Fallout's most heartbreaking stories. This cave is filled with spore plants and creatures from Vault 22, directly connecting multiple storylines across the game world. Clark's story, told entirely through environmental clues and computer entries, reveals how one man survived the apocalypse, only to watch everything he cared about slowly die. The location proves that DLC areas often contain the series' most sophisticated hidden narratives. From elaborate DLC storytelling to the basics of wasteland survival, simple shelters tell their own stories. Mesquite Mountains Lean-To. The Mesquite Mountains Lean-To represents pure post-war survival ingenuity, being a makeshift shelter complete with mattress, storage container, and water barrel. Located in the southwest desert, this humble structure shows how wastelanders adapt existing materials into livable spaces. There's no unique loot or quest significance, but the lean-to demonstrates the everyday reality of post-apocalyptic life that most players never stop to consider. The careful arrangement of survival necessities tells a story about hope and persistence without requiring a single line of dialogue. Sometimes the most mundane locations hide the most bizarre secrets, especially when Wild Wasteland gets involved. The One. The One is literally an unexploded nuclear bomb imported directly from Fallout 3's assets, but it only appears if you take the Wild Wasteland trait. This massive piece of ordnance sits in the desert, surrounded by super mutants and a cave system, creating one of the most surreal encounters in New Vegas. Players with sufficient science skill can harvest energy cells and microfusion cells from the bomb, basically turning nuclear weapons into a crafting resource. The location perfectly embodies Wild Wasteland's approach of mixing genuine danger with absurd humor. From nuclear weapons to conventional armories, faction hideouts require more traditional infiltration skills. Great Khan Armory. Hidden beneath a destroyed house near Red Rock Canyon, the Great Khan Armory requires finding a specific trapdoor to access. This underground cache contains some of the best faction-specific loot available to players friendly with the Khans, but you'll miss it entirely if you're not thorough in your exploration. The armory's concealment makes perfect sense for a nomadic tribe that needs to hide resources from the NCR and Legion. The location rewards players who invest in faction relationships while providing practical benefits for the Khan storyline. Moving from New Vegas to the capital Wasteland, Fallout 3's hidden locations often focus on pre-war mysteries and alien encounters. Strange Alien Crash Site. North of MDPL-13 Power Station in Fallout 3, the Strange Alien Crash Site introduces extraterrestrial elements that connect directly to the Mothership Zeta DLC. The crashed UFO contains a dead alien and the unique alien blaster weapon with limited but incredibly powerful ammunition. After installing Mothership Zeta, the alien's body disappears and gets replaced with an alien distress beacon, showing how DLC content can retroactively modify the base game world. This location proves that even the most outlandish Fallout elements often have deeper narrative connections. From alien technology to human infrastructure, abandoned metro systems tell stories of societal collapse. Abernathy Metro Station. The heavily irradiated Abernathy Metro Station, part of the Tacoma Park area, showcases environmental hazards as storytelling devices. This Mirelurk-infested underground maze forces players to balance radiation exposure against exploration rewards while navigating pre-war terminals filled with propaganda and lies. The station's condition reflects how quickly infrastructure collapsed after the bombs, with dangerous creatures claiming former safe spaces. The terminal's cheerful pre-war messages create a disturbing contrast with the current reality of mutation and decay. Underground dangers extend beyond metro stations into elaborate sewer networks designed for serious exploration. Arlington Sewer. Southeast of Arlington Library lies a massive 3-level sewer system with guard rooms and locked storage areas that most players never fully explore. The complex contains valuable loot, including stealth boys and skill books, but accessing everything requires careful navigation and combat against entrenched raiders. This sewer system represents Fallout 3's commitment to rewarding thorough exploration with genuinely useful items. The multi-level design suggests this area was originally planned for larger quest content that got cut during development. From elaborate sewer systems to corporate facilities, hidden office buildings reveal pre-war corporate secrets. Bethesda Underworks. The Bethesda Underworks, a sub-basement near the actual Bethesda Game Studios office location, contains radioactive waste barrels and packs of feral ghouls that can overwhelm unprepared players. Up to 6 ghouls can attack simultaneously, with a chance of encountering rare glowing variants that drop better loot. This location serves as both developer Easter egg and legitimate gameplay challenge, showing how Bethesda incorporated real-world geography into their wasteland design. The radioactive waste suggests pre-war corporate negligence that created post-war environmental hazards. Religious sites in the wasteland often hide more than spiritual guidance, sometimes concealing rescue missions. Calverton. The destroyed church at Calverton features a cemetery, tripwire traps, and occasionally a captive NPC who can be rescued for positive karma. This location demonstrates how Fallout 3 uses religious imagery to comment on faith's role in post-apocalyptic survival. The tripwire trap at the entrance shows how even sacred spaces have been weaponized by wasteland inhabitants. The rescue encounter, when it triggers, provides moral choice opportunities that reinforce the game's karma system without requiring major quest commitments. From religious sites to media centers, abandoned news offices reveal pre-war propaganda and post-war dangers. Capitol Post. The Capitol Post news office contains pre-war terminals with journalistic information while hosting super mutant threats outside the building. Inside, players can find notes and keys that connect to other hidden locations like Minefield, showing how unmarked areas often link together through environmental storytelling. The printing room equipment tells stories about information distribution before the Great War. This location proves that even minor buildings can serve as narrative hubs connecting multiple areas across the capital wasteland. Commercial establishments also hide valuable loot and automotive history from before the bombs. Car Dealership. East of Fairfax Ruins, the Corvega dealership features a water tower landmark and becomes an enclave spawn point after completing Waters of Life. The two display Corvegas, provide environmental details about pre-war automotive technology and consumer culture. Post-main quest. This location transforms from simple loot opportunity into active combat zone, showing how completing major storylines can alter the game world. The dealership represents the kind of everyday Americana that Fallout uses to comment on pre-war society's excesses. Some hidden locations reveal the scope of pre-war international conflict through abandoned military assets. Chinese Army Mobile Command HQ. This destroyed freeway trailer east of Regulator HQ contains spy equipment and the Chinese Army Special Ops Training Manual, providing direct evidence of pre-war Chinese military operations on American soil. The presence of ham radio equipment suggests ongoing intelligence gathering that continued right up to the nuclear exchange. This location provides concrete proof that the Sino-American War involved actual Chinese infiltration rather than just propaganda fears. The manual itself serves as valuable skill-boosting loot while reinforcing the game's Cold War paranoia themes. Consumer culture evidence appears throughout the wasteland in the form of chain store ruins that show pre-war corporate dominance. Cornucopia Fresh Groceries. At least 4 Cornucopia Fresh Groceries chain store locations exist throughout the capital wasteland, demonstrating how corporate brands survived in ruin form across the region. These multiple locations establish pre-war consumerism and corporate expansion while providing consistent environmental design elements that make the world feel coherent. Each store contains similar layouts and loot types, showing how franchise standardization worked before the apocalypse. The chain's widespread presence comments on how corporate culture had penetrated every aspect of American life before the bombs fell. Technical infrastructure also hides puzzles and challenges for dedicated explorers willing to decode mysterious signals. Drainage chambers and broadcast tower rooms. 7 known drainage chambers and broadcast stations throughout the capital wasteland transmit coded Morse signals that create optional puzzle content for dedicated players. These locations feature dangerous falls and ham radios, broadcasting cryptic messages that can be decoded for additional lore. The drainage chambers represent utility infrastructure that survived the war but got repurposed for mysterious communications. The broadcast towers suggest either surviving military communications or Wastelander attempts to maintain long-distance contact across the dangerous capital wasteland. Military installations sometimes hide evidence of post-war faction investigations and alien technology. Bannister Crater. East of Fort Bannister, multiple bomb craters contain rad scorpions and alien power cells, with a safe containing Radaway for players who thoroughly search the area. After completing the main quest, Enclave forces investigate this location, suggesting ongoing military interest in the crash sites. The alien power cells directly connect to the broader extraterrestrial subplot that runs through Fallout 3's hidden content. The Enclave presence proves that major factions actively monitor and investigate unusual wasteland phenomena. Trading posts sometimes offer more than commerce, providing potential player housing in unexpected locations. Lucky's. Near Tenpenny Tower, Lucky's serves as both dangerous combat encounter and potential player housing opportunity for players who clear out the hostile inhabitants. The location contains almost all possible custom weapon modification parts, making it incredibly valuable for players focused on weapon customization. However, taking items results in karma loss, creating moral tension between practical benefits and ethical considerations. Lucky's demonstrates how Fallout 3 integrates player housing opportunities into combat encounters rather than making them separate systems. Some locations blur the line between settlement and personal residence while offering unique amenities. Radiation King. The Radiation King trading outpost in Georgetown features a repair NPC and can function as an unofficial player home complete with jukebox and multiple radio stations. This location provides essential services while offering entertainment amenities that most official player housing lacks. The repair NPC makes this one of the few hidden locations that provides ongoing gameplay utility, rather than just one-time exploration rewards. The multiple radio stations suggest this location serves as a communication hub for the surrounding Georgetown area. Playground equipment repurposed by wasteland creatures creates some of the game's most memorable boss encounters. Roach King's Throne, northeast of Minefield. The Red Rocket playground equipment has been claimed by the hostile Roach King and his Rad Roach followers, creating a mini-boss encounter in an unexpected location. The throne setup contains valuable loot, including mini-nukes and miniguns, making this children's playground one of the most rewarding combat encounters for prepared players. The Roach King represents how wasteland creatures adapt human infrastructure for their own purposes. This location perfectly embodies Fallout's dark humor by turning innocent playground equipment into a monster lair. Faction hideouts often contain unique weapons that reflect their inhabitants' personalities and combat preferences. Raid Shack. East of Bethesda Ruins, the Raid Shack contains raiders, and the unique weapon Stab Happy, along with references to the Elder Scrolls IV. Oblivion show Bethesda's tendency to include cross-game Easter eggs. The shack provides solid loot, including ammunition and buff out, while serving as a straightforward combat encounter. The TES reference demonstrates how Bethesda uses hidden locations to reward players familiar with their other franchises. Stab Happy itself represents the kind of jury-rigged wasteland weaponry that raiders prefer over conventional military equipment. Entertainment venues show how wastelanders create new forms of amusement from pre-war animals and infrastructure. Mole Rat Racetrack. Southwest of Grey Ditch, raiders have organized mole rat races using captured animals and makeshift track equipment, creating one of the wasteland's most bizarre entertainment venues. This location features both racing events and combat encounters with non-respawning enemies, making each visit potentially unique. The racetrack demonstrates wasteland ingenuity in creating entertainment from available resources while showing how organized raider groups structure their downtime activities. Some locations exist purely for absurd humor, creating memorable moments through environmental comedy. Plunger Room of Death. This shelter features a tower of random objects, leading to a room filled with exactly 50 plungers, creating one of Fallout 3's most meme-worthy discoveries. The location serves no practical gameplay purpose beyond entertainment and screenshot opportunities, but it perfectly captures Fallout's commitment to absurd environmental storytelling. Plunger Collection suggests either obsessive hoarding behavior or deliberate artistic installation by a deranged wastelander. This room proves that hidden locations don't always need practical rewards to create lasting player memories. Some hidden areas exist beyond normal map boundaries, requiring special techniques or glitches to access. Isabella Proud's Camp. Hidden beyond the normal map border, Isabella Proud's camp contains her personal notes, feral ghouls, and corpses that tell a story of isolation and survival gone wrong. Accessing this location requires boundary-breaking techniques that most players never discover, making it one of the most exclusive hidden areas in Fallout 3. Moving into Fallout 4, hidden locations become more elaborate and mechanically complex, while maintaining the series' commitment to environmental storytelling. Parking Garage Dungeon. West of Milton General Hospital, this multi-level parking garage functions as a genuine dungeon, complete with traps, puzzles, and grotesque imagery that creates one of Fallout 4's most atmospheric exploration experiences. The labyrinthine structure rewards careful navigation with valuable loot, while telling a story through environmental design rather than exposition. Grotesque imagery suggests this garage became a site of systematic violence rather than random wasteland danger. Post-war eccentricity reaches new heights in locations dedicated to specific obsessions and hobbies. Crazy Cat Cabin, southeast of Walden Pond. This cabin filled with cats and cat paintings represents post-war obsessive behavior taken to logical extremes. The location provides no significant loot, but creates a memorable environmental story about how isolation and loss might drive survivors to extreme hoarding behaviors. The cats themselves appear to be thriving, suggesting this location represents successful interspecies cooperation rather than simple hoarding. Artistic installations created from automotive wreckage demonstrate wasteland creativity and cultural memory. Carhenge, south of Walden Pond. This Stonehenge parody, constructed from automobile wreckage, is guarded by a powerful super mutant behemoth and contains rare loot for players brave enough to fight for it. The monument demonstrates how post-war survivors remember and reinterpret pre-war cultural symbols using available materials. Behemoth Guardian suggests this location has spiritual or territorial significance that goes beyond simple artistic expression. Carhenge perfectly represents Fallout's approach of mixing cultural commentary with legitimate gameplay challenges. Military ingenuity appears in crude but effective weapons installations hidden throughout the Commonwealth. Rocket Shed, northeast of Relay Tower 0BB915. This location contains a jury-rigged rocket launcher setup, complete with propane canisters and explosive ammunition that demonstrates wasteland weapons crafting at its most dangerous. The shed shows how survivors adapt civilian infrastructure into military assets, using whatever materials they can scavenge. The explosive setup creates environmental hazards that can damage careless players while providing powerful ammunition for those who safely navigate the traps. This location proves that post-war survivors often prioritize firepower over safety in their engineering projects. Extraterrestrial encounters continue the series' tradition of alien mysteries while connecting to broader supernatural elements. Crashed UFO? North of Somerville, near Vault 81, the fiery UFO wreck leaves a trail of green alien blood that leads to additional discoveries for players who follow the clues carefully. This crash site updates the alien encounter tradition with improved visual effects and expanded exploration opportunities compared to previous previous games. The blood trail mechanic rewards thorough investigation while connecting the initial discovery to additional hidden content. Pop culture references reach new levels of detail in locations that recreate iconic movie scenes with wasteland twists. FV Orca Wreck. North of Salem Museum of Witchcraft, this fishing boat wreck recreates scenes from Jaws, complete with a diver's cage below the waterline and environmental details that reference the movie's most memorable moments. The location demonstrates how Fallout 4's increased detail capabilities allow for more sophisticated pop culture homages than previous games could manage. The underwater diver's cage requires players to explore both above and below the waterline, showing how hidden locations can utilize multiple environmental levels. Educational institutions often hide the darkest stories about pre-war experimentation and post-war survival horror. Suffolk County Charter School. This abandoned school contains evidence of disturbing food experiments involving pink paste and feral ghouls, creating one of Fallout 4's most unsettling environmental stories. The location suggests systematic abuse of children through nutritional experimentation that continued right up to the nuclear war. The presence of feral ghouls implies that some victims of these experiments survived the initial blast only to suffer worse fates. This school demonstrates how Fallout 4 uses hidden locations to explore institutional corruption and child endangerment themes that would be inappropriate for main quest content. DLC locations often push environmental storytelling to new extremes, while incorporating specific regional themes and folklore. Shovel Museum. In the Nuka World DLC, the Shovel Museum represents the ultimate parody of niche American roadside attractions, filled with shovel-related exhibits and memorabilia that perfectly captures pre-war consumer culture's absurd extremes. This location demonstrates how DLC content can focus entirely on humor, without requiring combat encounters or valuable loot rewards. The museum's detailed exhibits show the development team's commitment to creating fully realized joke locations that reward exploration with entertainment rather than practical benefits. Haunted Mansion attractions blend entertainment industry themes with genuine supernatural horror elements. Grantchester Mansion. Also in Nuka World, this haunted house attraction, inspired by the Winchester Mystery House, features hidden rooms, supernatural events, and environmental storytelling that blurs the line between theme park attraction and genuine horror. The mansion's labyrinthine design and supernatural elements create one of the most atmospheric locations in any Fallout game. The Winchester House inspiration shows how the developers research real-world oddities to create believable fictional locations. Fallout 76's Appalachian setting introduces regional variations on hidden location themes, while emphasizing community and survival. Junk Tower Windmill. This engineering marvel, built from scavenged materials, demonstrates Appalachian ingenuity while providing workbench access and resource generation for players who discover it. The windmill represents sustainable technology adapted to post-war conditions using pre-war materials and knowledge. The windmill proves that hidden locations can serve practical functions while still providing exploration rewards. Raider settlements demonstrate sophisticated multi-tier architecture and strategic positioning across the Appalachian landscape. Razor-edged Raider Camp. This multi-level raider settlement showcases advanced architectural planning while providing medical supplies and loot for players who can clear out the hostile inhabitants. The camp's defensive positioning and resource access demonstrate how organized raider groups claim strategic locations rather than simply squatting in ruins. The medical supplies suggest these raiders maintain higher organization levels than typical wasteland gangs. Industrial facilities reveal the scope of pre-war mining operations while hiding valuable resources and historical information. Motherlode Facility. This hidden mining operation contains valuable ore deposits and terminals that detail pre-war industrial activities in West Virginia, while providing ongoing resource generation for players who claim the facility. The location demonstrates how Fallout 76 integrates real-world West Virginia mining history into game lore while providing practical gameplay benefits. The Motherlode facility proves that hidden locations can serve as both historical education and resource management gameplay elements. Secret vaults across multiple games represent the series' most elaborate hidden locations while advancing major plot elements. Secret vaults. From the original Secret Vault in Texas to the data-mined Vault 120 content found in Fallout 76's files, these hidden facilities contain experimental backstories and rare loot, while advancing the series' central themes about corporate experimentation and human survival. Each secret vault features unique experiments that were too dangerous or unethical for official Vault-Tec documentation. Some secret vaults exist only as cut content or data-mined assets. The evolution of hidden locations across the Fallout series demonstrates how environmental storytelling has grown more sophisticated while maintaining the core appeal of rewarding player curiosity and exploration. From simple loot caches in the original games to elaborate dungeon-like complexes in Fallout 4, these unmarked areas consistently provide the series' most memorable moments and darkest stories. They reward players who look beyond obvious objectives, while serving as laboratories for experimental content that might not fit into main questlines. If you enjoyed this video and want to see every hidden and unmarked quest, click the video on the screen.